Alam mo ba, 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 alam mo ba? Alam mo ba, 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 alam mo ba? Alam mo ba, 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 alam mo ba? Alam mo ba, alam mo ba, alam mo ba? Magandang araw, kamusta po kayo? Ako po si Darna, ang host at creator ng Buhay Tuklas. Samahan niyo po ako sa mga pagtuklas at pagpapakilala at dagdag kaalaman para sa inyong mga manunood ng YouTube video. Nais kong makapagbigay ng saya at konting kaalaman sa inyo bilang isang tagalikha. Halina't samahan niyo ako sa isa na namang pagtuklas at pagpapakilala at ating alamin ang pinagmulan. The Harlem Globetrotters are an American exhibition basketball team. They combine athleticism, theater, entertainment, and comedy in their style of play. Over the years, they have played more than 26,000 exhibition games in 124 countries and territories, mostly against deliberately ineffective opponents, such as the Washington Generals, 1953 hanggang 1995, since 2015, and the New York Nationals, 1995 hanggang 2015. The team's signature song is Brother Bones, whistled version of Sweet George Brown, and their mascot is an anthropomorphized globe named Globie. The team is owned by Herschend Family Entertainment. History: the Globetrotters originated in 1926, on the south side of Chicago, where all the original players were raised. They began as the Savoy Big Five, one of the premier attractions of the Savoy Ballroom, opened in January 1928. A basketball team of Black American players that played exhibitions before dances due to declining dance attendance. In 1928, several players left the team in a dispute. That autumn, those players formed a team called the Globetrotters and toured southern Illinois that spring. Abe Saperstein became involved with the team as its manager and promoter. By 1929, Saperstein was touring Illinois and Iowa with his basketball team called the New York Harlem Globe Trotters. Saperstein selected the name Harlem because it was then considered the center of Black American culture and the name Globetrotter to mythologize the team's international venues. The Globetrotters were perennial participants in the World Professional Basketball Tournament, winning it in 1940. In a heavily attended matchup a few years later, the 1948 Globetrotters-Lakers game, the Globetrotters made headlines when they beat one of the best white basketball teams in the country, the Minneapolis Lakers. The Globetrotters continued to easily win games due to Harlem monopolizing the entire talent pool of the best black basketball players in the country. Once one of the most famous teams in the country, the Globetrotters were eventually eclipsed by the rise of the National Basketball Association, particularly when NBA teams began recruiting black players in the 1950s. In 1950, Harlem Globetrotter Chuck Cooper became the first black player to be drafted in the NBA by Boston, and teammate Nat Sweetwater Clifton became the first black player to sign an NBA contract when the New York Knicks purchased his contract from the Globetrotters for $12,500, equivalent to $158,000 in 2023, with Saperstein getting $10,000 and Clifton getting $2,500. The Globetrotters gradually worked comic routines into their act, a direction the team has credited to Race Goose Tatum, who joined in 1941, and eventually became known more for entertainment than sports. The Globetrotters' acts often feature incredible coordination and skillful handling of one or more basketballs, such as passing or juggling balls between players, balancing or spinning balls on their fingertips, and making unusually difficult shots. In 1952, the Globetrotters invited Louis Red Klotz to create a team to accompany them on their tours. This team, the Washington Generals, who also played under various other names, became the Globetrotters' primary opponents. The Generals are effectively stooges for the Globetrotters, with the Globetrotters handily defeating them in thousands of games. Collectively received the Athletic Order of Lenin Medal. According to one report titled, "Russians Baffled by Harlem Fun," however, spectators were initially confused. A Soviet audience of 14,000 Saturday almost silently, as if in awe, through the first half of the game. It warmed up slightly in the second half when it realized the Trotters are more show than competition. The Globetrotters brought their own opponent, not the Washington Generals, but the San Francisco Chinese Basketeers. A review in state-run Pravda stated, "This is not basketball, it is too full of tricks," but praised the Globetrotters' skills and suggested that they have some techniques to show us. The American press, particularly Drew Pearson, made note of the fact that the Globetrotters were paid, per game, the equivalent of $4,000, equivalent to $42,000 in 2023, by the Soviet government, which could be spent only in Moscow. The games were used as evidence that US-Russian relations were improving, that Moscow was backing off its propaganda campaign aimed at American race relations, and that the Russian society was becoming more capitalist. Pearson suggested that the games were held because Lenin Stadium needed money. In May 1967, New York City-based Metro Media announced that it would acquire the Globetrotters for $1 million, but the deal was never completed and the team was later sold to George N. Gillett Jr., who soon formed a new company called Globetrotter Communications in 1968. 9 years after the company's attempted acquisition in 1976, Metro Media announced that it would reacquire the Globetrotters for $11 million from Globetrotter Communications. Mag-subscribe sa aming channel para sa higit pang nakakangganyo na makasaysayang nilalaman at tiyaking pindutin ang notification bell upang hindi makaligtaan ang isang update. I-like, ibahagi, at iwanan ang iyong mga saloobin sa seksyon ng mga komento sa ibaba. Salamat sa pagsama sa amin sa nakakapagpapaliwanag na paglalakbay na ito. Hanggang dito na lang mga katuklas ko at umaasa po ako na napasaya ko kayo at nakapagbigay ako ng konting kaalaman. Kung nagustuhan po ninyo ang content, inaanyayahan ko po kayo na mag-subscribe at hit the notification bell para sa mga bagong video na aking ilalabas at paki-like na rin po ang video bilang tulong at pagsuporta sa Buhay Tuklas. Maraming salamat po and God bless.